Western North Dakota, but Scott Decker was one of the first troops on the ground for the start of the Gulf War. Decker is now the mayor of Dickinson, but in this evening's Veterans Voices, we visit with Decker about his more than 20 years in the Army.
And I walked in, and he looked at me, and he said, Air Force recruiter's not here. And I said, I'm not here to talk to him. And he goes, well, what can I help you with? I said, I want to jump out of airplanes.
For Dickinson native Scott Decker, a life in the military did not happen right after high school.
You know, when I came home from MEPS that day and I said, hey, I signed up to be airborne infantry, yeah, my dad thought it was crazy. And my mother was not happy.
MEPS is short for Military Entrance Processing Station. Soon after that, Decker was sent to Fort Benning, Georgia in 1989.
One of the things they always tell you in the Army is don't volunteer for anything. I volunteered for everything.
By volunteering, Decker's marching orders happened quickly, as he was placed in the 197th Separate Brigade. It landed him a spot on the 18th Battalion's competition rifle team, where he placed near the top in competitions, but the real fighting was just about to begin with the Persian Gulf War.
We weren't supposed to actually go. So General McCafferty at the time went out looking for a unit that could backfill that, and he selected us to be the round-out brigade for the 24th Infantry in Desert Storm, and we ended up being in General Schwarzkopf's right hook in the desert.
It meant a late-night flight to Saudi Arabia, where thousands of fellow infantry members were camped, waiting for a battle that wouldn't even last a week.
And they had no idea we're sitting out in the middle of the Saudi Arabian desert, ready to go up through the middle of Iraq and cut off all their supply chains and come in basically through the back door. I mean, we cut through those units fast, and that's why that only lasted 4 days.
Decker says the hard fighting was over, but the mission was not finished.
It doesn't even look like that time frame of 1990. It almost looks like Vietnamish.
They soon were tasked with manning a checkpoint along the highway of death.
You're pulling them out of trenches and out of bunkers, and they're begging us not to eat them because they were only given basically a canteen cup of water a day.
Decker says the Desert Storm conflict was just the start of a major learning curve for the military, but it offered him some unique opportunities, including a visit from the commander-in-chief.
We're sitting there, George Bush comes over to the desert, he's giving a big rah-rah speech. He comes to our battalion, 2nd 18th. We build him a dining facility out of sandbags, and he's out there eating chow with us.
You may have heard the expression, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but for Decker, he got to do a bit of both. In fact, he got to play horseshoes with President Bush.
Then all of a sudden he reaches down and he picks up a set of horseshoes and he throws them down in the sand. And he goes, I really like to play horseshoes, and I'm gonna tell you guys you need to have a horseshoe throwing contest here, and whoever wins, you're coming to the White House to play me in horseshoes. And I looked over at Billy Goolsby and I said, we're going to the White House.
Decker says he got to bring his family on the trip, where he and his team partner were then defeated in the match by the competitive George Bush Sr. on the White House lawn. Meanwhile, Decker stayed busy. He injured his back in a training mission, recovered, and in 1995 received orders to deploy to South Korea.
It's an interesting way to be for a whole year, knowing that you're going to, if they would decide to come south, you could fight, but you're probably not going to be able to fight for very long.
After that deployment, Decker then worked on what's known as Land Warrior, a military test project to plug in teams of soldiers to be connected to one another in real time. But it was orders for a second deployment to Korea that put an end to Decker's Army service, since he couldn't bring his family. He and his family would soon return to North Dakota.
I love this city. I love this state. My wife always used to say, she said, you never smile till we get back to North Dakota. And she was probably right.
Decker then spent time as a recruiter for the North Dakota National Guard. He retired from the service in 2010 and became more active in local politics in Dickinson.
So in 2012 I ran, and I lost by 300 votes. And I was, with the funny thing, I was like, where are all these people that wanted me to be the mayor? They won't even elect me to be a commissioner.
Decker was then elected city commissioner 2 years later, and then mayor in 2016, a position he has enjoyed to this day.
Every day when people ask me how you doing, I said, hey, I woke up. It's a great day. Right? It is. Every day is given.
Veterans Voices on KX News.
Decker admits he did not get many opportunities to jump out of airplanes, but he says his brother Mark did, as he served with the 82nd Airborne Division.